because you had an early breakfast with the heroes for a boy. You have sworn your oath. Those who were present, I believe Nassilin was the only one who didn't.
And Endoran.
Oh, and Endoran didn't. Okay.
And
and yeah.
If it makes any difference, Ricky didn't, and Styx didn't do half of it.
Okay.
Which
Well,
it would have made that
I
entire thing a lot different if he did swear into that other half.
ooh,
So
yeah.
we can. So I know Ricky didn't. My impression was Styx did, but we can talk about that another time. So
Okay.
let's not discuss it now. Hence why I said let's talk about it another time. So what are you guys doing?
I think we're gonna head back into Navactus Crossing and start asking questions.
Yeah, trying to figure out, what's the situation in the Bactus Crossing, how much food stores do they have? Are they effectively established whether or not they're capable of sustaining themselves throughout the winter?
Okay, well, since you've been away, Navactus Crossing has actually kind of turned into a bit of a hive of activity. So it looks like probably the out of the over 300 people there, probably a good half to 2/3 look like they're preparing to move out. There's a smaller group that have separated off but look like they're leaving Navactus Crossing. And there's the signs of a few very nervous and frightened, no doubt, natives to said village.
So, what's with the small group that isn't going with the big group that's probably with the heroes?
So I could repeat that.
So you said there were two groups leaving and one was smaller than the other?
Yeah, a lot smaller. So there's a kind of a group of maybe a few dozen that look like they've separated themselves off to the side. The observant amongst you will notice that some of them are either bearing the symbol or bearing the tabard of the god Abadar.
They are.
Uh-huh.
They are counters of their.
But the vast majority of the force, it looks like it is preparing to head out of the village.
I believe Hastus will say that, oh, those look like the ones who are gonna come with Janos. Let's get right to talking to the natives. Are they just about, or have they begun to congregate, the natives?
Sorry, it's not the line crackled again. Can you just repeat that?
The natives of Navactus Crossing, are they huddling in their homes, or are they gathering somewhere?
They look like they're huddling in their homes. I mean, there's kind of like a few that are kind of there's a few kind of men stumbling out quite nervously, looking around, clearly seeing that the heroes of Bravoy and their retinues are leaving. But to be honest, it's quite chaotic. It's hard, you're getting a general feel for what's happening after observing things maybe for 10 minutes or so. But sort of specifics or detail is really hard when you've got what isn't a fantastically large area and this many people. That having been said, with that in mind, certainly the non-villagers are acting in a fairly disciplined way.
Hastus will look to Julian like, is there any way you can sift the wheat from the chaff?
Probably just wait for either go talk to the tavern in, and then from there figure out with the de facto leader of this community,
Hmm.
or
I think it might be good to go speak to the tavern person. Also, you're very quiet, Pablo.
all right, that better?
Slightly.
Marginally. You sound a bit muffled.
Not intending to. Okay, yeah. So probably going to talk to the innkeeper, and then from there figure out who the leader of this community is.
Okay. You approach the inn. Belare with you.
Yep.
And you spot Janos there.
Good.
Handing over a fairly sizable coin purse to the innkeeper, who looks both nervous but also grateful. And he's trying hard, you think, to disguise his joy at their leaving.
Yeah.
Jean sees you and says, "Ah, good Julian. I'm just finishing some things here, and then we should probably have that drink we discussed.
Indeed.
Are you and your retinue ready to leave? I have given instruction for some of my retinue to accompany us. I believe they are organizing themselves."
Those must be the small group that had detached itself. Your followers, they looked like they look like followers of Abadar. If my eyes do not deceive me.
Aye. Good innkeeper, may I burden you again? I would wish to have a short drink with my good a noble, if short and statured companion here. That wouldn't be a problem, would it? The innkeeper, to your eye, Julian, looks too frightened to want to say nay. And Jazz doesn't actually wait for an answer. He just strides back into the inn.
I sort of
shoulders of the inn
glance.
slump.
I glance at Hastus and sort of say, "Well, you deal with the innkeeper, and I'll follow Janos in."
Yeah,
Okay.
Hastus nods like, good plan. And he strides up to the innkeeper and says, "Good afternoon, sir."
Is it? I guess they're leaving at last.
That was the agreement.
I'm sorry. Who are you? Oh, you were here this morning. Lots happening quickly.
Hastus nods.
He's looking to hide the rather large pouch of coin, you presume, behind his back, clearly not wanting it visible. How can I help you?
Yes. I should introduce myself, and Hastus will extend a hand. Hastus Atellus. Corporal of the Iron Wings Mercenary Company.
Irvin Revenisso, and innkeeper and mayor for my troubles.
Aha.
Though that doesn't seem to count for very much, it seems, recently.
My
But
friends and I. Ah, yes.
first, we had that Magar Varn and his ruffians.
Hmm.
Winter before last, and now this. The village hasn't been the same since carts regularly coming into the village and crossing the bridge. His men who man the watchtower and the gate. Some new settlement or thing they're doing down there. The man I was speaking to here earlier, the priest from, I think, the Court of Brevoy of all things, was asking me lots of questions about this new settlement.
Indeed. Well,
You see him
between
kind
you
of
and
hand, or one hand still behind his back, the other hand on hip, looking at the devastation across the village, which is basically kind of mounds of mud.
well, I can see you're eager to get that hidden away. So, why don't we find somewhere more comfortable to discuss this at length?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I can help you. Did you say you're some kind of warrior? Are you with the halfling?
Julian? Estes motions into the inn.
I think that was his name.
Yes, we are companions. Traveling companions.
So I don't even know where to start with all the things I have to do once these heroes leave. What would we need to talk about?
For starters, I was thinking that I'd bring a message from your friend, and the name of the brewer.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I've not seen him in many a season now. How is he?
Estes kind of frowns. He was assassinated.
Huh?
He was killed by someone paid to kill him.
He always had strong opinions, but I wouldn't have before imagined that someone would hire say a blade of Daggermark or something.
Well, judging from the way that he died, that's what we believe occurred. The weapon used was very, how shall I say, inclined to be used surreptitiously.
Well, these are strange times, friend.
Estes nods grimly. He was employed in making beverage for the settlement that this Abadarian was asking you about. A settlement I happen to protect. In fact, you might say I'm its chief protector. Estes
Still
watches
learning
the man.
still learning on the job, though, from the sounds of it.
Estes kind of shakes his head. We got off to a very rocky start. Through no fault of my own. I'm simply trying to put the pieces back together. In the right order.
Then is the halfling, is he when Magar Varn came through with his men, claimed he had a he was sponsored by the Sword Lords. Is this another of these new settlements, then?
Yes, Asta says, we are sponsored by the Sword Lords, but more than that, we are sponsored by other kingdoms in the area. We are a trading route, or the last post on a long trading route.
I see.
The plan is to connect long swaths of the river kingdoms from Daggermark to Restov.
I come up to rest of it. I'm no. My knowledge outside these lands may be small, but the Selen and its many rivers travel north to south. How would you manage such a crossing or trade route from, say, Dagmar to here? That's what, hundreds of miles?
Astus nods. He says, I'm but a simple corporal. My company has been employed to protect this route from Daggermark to Restov. We're veterans from Nermathus, fighting against the orcs of the Hold of Belkson, if you've heard of those places.
I haven't heard of any of those places. I'll take your word for it. I'm sorry to hear of this man's death, but I don't see what it has to do with me.
Chiefly, it was that it brought this settlement to our attention, and that he said that you might be persuaded to part with some of your beer-making barrels, which I'm afraid we're in sore need of now. However, when we arrived, we found this. And Hastus looks back towards the village in ruin. I have to say, we would like to assist you, and perhaps be assisted in turn.
The village will recover, I'm sure, and that we get more trade now that comes down going to Varnhold in the south. What I potentially I can sell you some barrels. I have a son-in-law. He married to my second daughter. He had a bad experience when the heroes arrived. Maybe I could talk him into going to a new settlement. It might be a fresh start for him. I wouldn't mention the death of the other chap, though.
Astus nods, and he says, we don't really want to disrupt the settlement here if you think you'll be able to make it through the winter. But,
I hadn't even considered that. Our winter stocks are gone, and the harvest is already in. I had thought of traveling down the road to speak to Megarvan, but I understand they're doing quite well down there. I was going to see if we come to an arrangement. He still owes the village for materials that we gave him as part of his start. Perhaps I was thinking he could pay back that loan by sharing his winter stores with us, but I've not had that conversation.
This Magar Varn, which direction is he in? Estes motions around.
So, we're built on the banks of the river here, but that bridge is new. Magar Varn and his men built it summer before last, and he'll point. You've seen it before. Quite a smart looking bridge. More impressive is the gate and 2 watchtowers that go that the other side of the bridge leads to, and then on the other side it looks like there's a new road that continues traveling south.
Estes nods. Says, this trading post, did you know Oleg?
I've heard that name. Where have I heard that name? Yes, isn't there man and his wife just off of the where this road curves and turns north towards New Steven? There's an old fort now, some kind of trading post for hunters and trappers. I'm sure some of the huntsmen and trappers here have mentioned it before when they used to make the journey to ply their trade in the Nile marches. But since the bandit lord and other strange tales from those lands, very few of them talk of it now.
Estes
Too
nods.
many disappeared. Too many husbands of wives who never came back.
My companions and I killed that bandit lord, the stag lord they called him.
Well, for that, certainly you'll find some gratitude in the village. There are a few widows who claim that that bandit lord was responsible for their husbands not returning. To be honest, it's probably more women folk than we know what to do with. Most of them have children, but not many are skilled enough in a trade to earn. It's one of the things that concerns me from time to time. Some of them, I think, may have even gone off, though, with the retinue of the heroes. That happens. Some of them went south to join the new settlement with Magar Varn. Varnhold. Man names a place after himself, but if you meet the man, you'll understand why. Very full of himself.
Interesting, Estes says. He looks genuinely grateful that this man shared the information.
Look, it would be very helpful if you have some men, if they could sort of help to tidy up. I don't expect the brave heroes and their followers will demean themselves in this way. And there's only so much use for coin when practical work is required.
Estes nods. He says, can probably devote some manpower. To the south, there's lots of wild grain that is yet to be harvested. My people, the people of the settlement that I watch over, have been trying to harvest some of it, but we simply lack the sheer manpower to the west.
Well, certainly I don't think you'll find any complaints. I'll I'll speak to Kara and Lauren. I was going to speak to them when these brave heroes left. Obviously, replenishing the winter stores is our main concern now. Or I can see many of us trudging to Restov, or maybe south to Varnhold. How Magar would love that.
Hastus nods it. The road is well kept. It shouldn't take you too long to get to the fields, or where the wild grain grows.
No, perhaps if you could leave some of your men to show us. Then I'll talk to Kara and Lauren about this other place. What was his name again?
We call it Venson.
Benson. Certainly, actions speak louder than any prosaic words about Abadar and so forth. If you can help us, then it will make things easy for me to convince my daughter that her and her husband should perhaps make a new start in this Benson, and I would certainly rather that if I have to lose villagers that they join people who have helped us rather than the bloodsuckers in Varnhold.
Hastus nods. I'd be grateful for your help.
And I would be grateful for yours. We're getting more trade through here because of Varnhold, so perhaps we could help each other. Perhaps, but at the moment, it's the winter stores.
Hastus says that if there's trouble, you can send a messenger due west along the old road. They should be able to find us.
No, my thanks. So, these men who can help Heidi and perhaps lead us to these fields, are they with you?
Yes, we camped a ways off in the fields. On the plains.
And then, well, they'll be moving in a few hours, I expect. So once they've done that, then I'll speak to Lauren and Kara, and we can arrange wagons, and you can show us where these wild grains. I heard it mentioned, but we never had the need before. So, and it's vast land out here. It's not like the cities, that's for sure.
Hastus nods him. And about the beer barrels, how much compensation would you require for a few of them? If you were to part with a few of them?
If you can help us tidy up here and show us the grain, then I'm sure we can look to help you. I'm not worried about the barrels, and there may be some other things we can help you on as well. Do you have a priest in this Benson?
One who can work the miracles of the divine.
Hmm.
or a simple minister?
Well, either. Um, Kara has an apprentice, it may be a bit early, but if you can show willing to help us, then I might have a word with her about whether or not her apprentice could, uh, like my errant son-in-law, look to resettle. I think Kara might be persuadable.
Astus nods. Says, I'm probably the closest thing the settlement has to a holy man. When I was young, my mother was a holy woman. She taught me much of the scripture.
Um, well, okay, let's uh, let's do what we can.
Havoc.
Um, I think
Alrighty.
Julian and Janos.
I follow Janos in, having left the innkeeper in good hands. Uh, I will start, and as we sort of proceed in and each get a drink and so on, I will start off by saying, so, you have a retinue that's coming with you. Does Vas also have followers? I believe.
No, no, Vass is Eric is hmm. Eric is his own man largely.
Ah, I see.
And Zalan and Pal have left with they're organizing most of the men. I think Zalan is worried there will be trouble in Restov, taking so many soldiers into the city. With tensions big.
Zalan is probably has some idea of. It is not unknown the situation between, as I stated previously, between Restov and Brevoy is coming in with force might be seen as an act of aggression, but coming in
No,
without it might be seen as an act of weakness.
why aggression when we are but one company, good Julian?
I do not pertain to know the whims of every sword lord. Whilst me and my patron do believe that the way forward is through unity, that is not a view held by everyone. I will not hide that fact from you.
Now, I would, on the subject of your patron, I would be interested in meeting with Lord Vivasseri. As we are spending the winter together, it seems we have plenty of time to arrange such a meeting, no?
That would be agreeable. I believe so.
I think in these times of tension, communication can only be a good thing, no?
So I saw that you were compensating the innkeeper rather handsomely. I do suppose that covers for the effect your followers have had on this town's population.
Well,
Thricefold by my count.
innkeeper and mayor, so hence generosity. And Abadar will provide. It is our followers are zealous, but zealotry makes them hungry and thirsty. Tell me, what can you know of this Varnhold to the south? The
Barnhold.
innkeeper had interesting tales about it.
So can we do a law check on Varnhold?
Yeah.
Or be local, I guess.
Yeah.
Come on, character sheet.
Give it a stroke.
24. The name sounds familiar. I've definitely heard it before, but I thought it just a pipe dream, so to speak, in terms of
More
its.
More Rosslyn dreams, yes? Now, speaking to the innkeeper, it would seem these dreams are more real than those of Rossland.
They are. That's an intriguing thought. It seems that some of the sword lords have been busy. I wonder who it be.
If I was to guess, it would be the Darrows.
Ah, yes. Well,
I
the
presume you don't know where Lucio Darrow is. I
could you
presume
repeat
you
that?
don't know where Lucio Darrow is, do you?
I have spoken to Mario Dero about his brother's whereabouts, but he was as unaware of his own brother's whereabouts as you are. So, no, I do not.
How are you and your retinue looking to fulfill this oath that Zalan has had us swear?
My companion Hastus was looking at the idea of investigating this crypt that Zalan has such interest in. I myself thought perhaps going on to the set have might shed some light on what exactly has been going on there.
Then perhaps we might, with my retinue and yours, we might travel across said bridge and go and visit Varnhold. That way we are fulfilling the oath from the point of view of settlements, but also it is south, is it not? If there are reasons for us to investigate, then we may investigate there.
Again, I have not heard of this Varnhold before. I do, however, have heard some speculation of a similar startup settlement to the west, and that one piqued my interest, particularly because I cannot appear to track down exactly. It appears to have a number of patrons behind it. So, whoever is behind it has a mask of many faces.
Which brings us perhaps back to this Lucio.
Perhaps. If it is Lucio, this is more elaborate than his usual schemes, I'll give him that much.
I had heard what little I had heard of him in court suggested he was but a fool, almost an embarrassment to his brother.
Yes, well, that is his usual facade, but if he is indeed behind some of these settlements, perhaps he isn't such a fool after all. And tell me, how did Lucio actually come to anger the court of Brevoy beyond to the point where I have seen wanted posters?
Yeah, you're telling me, Julian, you do not know?
Well, there's the story, and then there is the actual truth of the matter.
As we are allies now, Julian, I will tell you what I know. There was a device brought to the court, and in the court, I was asked to attend. I happened to be in New Steven. The cousin of the king Vladislav Grigorovich showed in the outside the palace this strange thing of cloth and wood, seemed to be able to rise of its own accord into the air. Everyone suspected magic, but none could be detected.
It's strange. Cloth and wood, you say? Sounds like a ship, but on land?
In the air.
In the air?
Vladislav claimed that it was a device that the Sword Lords had created as part of their dreams of Greater Russland. You understand this excited the court and the king.
I would. Would at that.
And the evidence pointed to Lucio Darrow.
Lucio does not seem like the man to have the capacity to design such an artifact. He must have been through his brother, the financial.
There are rumors of a woman and some beast companion that were behind this. It is from these that Vladislav gained the artifact.
I knew Lucio had have done something spectacular to warrant this sort of reprisal, but this is beyond my wildest imagination. Sounds like the sort of thing you'd find in a novella.
Man, as to whether this device actually worked or would be practical, I have my doubts, but tensions are high in the north, Julian. The clown is sensitive to any rumors or suggestions of betrayal. So, the crown has given Vladislav the right to pursue Lucio and his companions, his accomplices. But for now, he is frustrated. He is not, I think, best pleased that the crown has asked Zalan and I to help him in Rostov.
Yes, well, I would imagine he would take such an action as light. It will be somewhat problematic if he begins to act more restless.
You will be wise, Julian, and you should tell your lord this to avoid Vladislav Grigorovich. As a cousin of the king, he is untouchable, and the man has a troublesome reputation.
Well, as a cousin of the king, we had such assumptions about him before your statement. It is... we do not wish to have to cross paths with him.
But it occurs to me that traveling south to Varnhold would be simpler.
What information did the innkeeper / mayor give you on Varnhold?
Some man, Magar Varn, is it?
This is very egotistical.
Arrived 2 summers ago with a large amount of men and traders, lot of hopefuls, maybe those for whom life in Rostov had become either dull or difficult, chancers, dreamers. This is good as far as things go. Abadar will always reward those who strive. But this Megavan seemed to have some means. I'm no soldier, Julian, like yourself. I don't get involved in these things, but Powell and Zalan spent a day looking at the gatehouse and the watchtowers. Apparently, these are buildings of some skill. So it implies this may means and those with competency. The innkeeper says that before we arrived, every 10 days or so, people and goods would travel across the bridge and pass through the gate.
So definitely a successful encampment of some kind. Yes, it may well be some use to investigate this.
I would rather investigate this path of the oath than Lucio Darrow, which will just simply get us involved with Vladislav.
Yes, that is true enough. Well, then, it seems we have been on. What is your opinion on Zalan's little interest in the crypt?
I know nothing of a crypt. Zalan says there is something worrying going on to the south. Perhaps if we go to this barnhold, we may find clues. He mentioned something about spirits and old tales from the north. Something about Iobaria, of all things.
Raise a single eyebrow at that. Yes, well, potentially. May very well be. I will consult with my companions on this. No doubt Hastus has been talking to the innkeeper. Perhaps he's gotten more information.
Speak to your retinue, and this is what I would advise.
Aye. Well, and this, I imagine we finish the drink and then head back. And we do have a plan in place. I think we can move on to the caravan.
Hastus shares that the Nivactus crossing is likely going to survive, so long as they help them build up their winter stores. And Hastus thinks getting a favor, or 2, or 5, from the people of Nivactus Crossing in exchange for assistance would not be so bad.
Yeah, if there's to be any shot that you and say that actually doing work to help rebuild here. Otherwise, I will ask if the innkeeper mentioned anything about, what did you call the settlement, Ego?
Varnhold?
Varnhold, yeah. And that Janos seems rather interested in pursuing that path. He doesn't like the idea of going after Darrow simply because it would put him in contention with the cousin of the king, or whoever that was.